What's up folks, CrossSG back with the final installment of my mod list series. If you haven't watched the first two parts, I talk about visual mods in part 1 and gameplay mods in part 2. Links to those videos are in the description. In part 3, we're going to take a look at the immersion-centric mods that I use, and this is going to be a longer video because immersion mods make up the majority of the mods that I use. To keep things nice and tidy, I have categorized them into 4 categories. First, we have world-level mods, and these are mods that generally affect the game world on a whole or specific locations in the game world. Second, we have player-level mods, and these are mods that are more player-specific, affecting things from the player's perspective. Third, we have romance enhancement mods, and these mods affect the romance aspect of the game specifically, anywhere from extending it, enhancing it, or even adding on more romance options. And finally, we have miscellaneous mods, and these are mods that don't quite fit into any of the previous categories. And of course, the same reminder I have in all my mod videos, please remember to check the mod pages for any required mods and be sure to have those mods installed and updated. Okay, let's do this, starting with world level mods. First up, we have Weathermancer by RMK1234, and this mod simply allows you to set the weather to whatever state you prefer. It also allows you to alter the transition time whenever you change the weather state, and the priority setting seems to control the potential to override some quest-related weather mechanics. Though I personally would not recommend messing with this option because it could break something in the game. Now, the mod also allows you to reset the weather to its default cycle in the event of a bug or if you want things to return to normal after setting the weather for whatever reason. Weathermancer requires CyberEngine tweaks, codeware, native settings UI, Red4 extension, and Red script. And next up we have Crowd E3 Restored by Lexars, and this mod restores about 100 additional NPC models that were either deactivated or for some reason dormant in the launch build of the game. In English, what that means is it just adds more variants to random crowd NPCs so you see less clones walking around. This mod is mainly for those who run high crowd density, or maybe you run a crowd density boosting mod like Psycho Crowds. Yeah, so this mod is mainly for that. Crowd E3 Restored has no required mods. Moving on, we have Night City Alive by Katane1991, and this mod adds a whole bunch of behavioral changes to the citizens of Night City. The description is long, so I'll do my best to summarize it, but I recommend reading the description in detail by yourselves. The gist of it is it gives the various gangs and gang members specific law-centric routines and jobs in Night City. Gangs can also interact with one another, sometimes violently. Civilians are more responsive and reactive to both your activities and gang activities. NCPD also becomes more responsive and more reactive to gang-related activities in the game world. Overall, this mod does exactly what its name says. It makes Night City feel more alive, not just filled with NPCs roaming around for the sake of filling the empty spaces on your screen. And of course, this is mostly an immersive thing. It doesn't change much in terms of gameplay, but with the increased activity, you might find yourself occasionally and realistically caught within the crossfire of a random gang war or some scuffle. The mod has 3 gang density options that you can download: low, standard, and high, which in turn affects the frequency and the severity of the random world occurrences. I personally recommend standard because low doesn't seem to really add much at all, and high goes in the complete opposite direction and can make things really chaotic. Now, this mod doesn't have any mod-specific requirements, but it does require you to own Phantom Liberty and have Red Mod installed via Steam or GOG. Okay, and up next we have the Immersive Mods by Deceptious, and you'll see quite a few mods by Deceptious on my list. Immersion mods are kinda his or her thing. I'll link their Nexus profile in the description. In a nutshell, the Immersive Mod Series aims to add additional animations or very short cutscenes to certain vendor interactions to make it feel way more immersive. Basically, instead of just walking up and vendor says, "Good day," and you buy something and bugger off, it now feels more like you're actually briefly interacting with a person rather than an NPC. There are mods for food vendors, bartenders, ripper docs. Some of them have requirements, some don't. Do check the mod pages individually before downloading them. Moving on, we have Lizzie's Braindances, and I'm going to quote the description here because it is as to the point as it gets. This mod adds a menu to Lizzie's bar with the ability to select a brain dance with any known character. The brain dance will then play the very well-known Joy Toy scene, and there are 3 locations that you can choose from: Jig Jig, Dark Matter, and the Arasaka Estate. And in each location menu there is a catalog of characters that you can choose from. Now, it is easy to brush off this mod as some weird porn thing for no-life degenerate gamers, but the author describes its purpose quite well, and I quote, "The main goal of this mod was not to make Joy Toy scenes, but rather to make Lizzie's bar usable. It feels weird that you can see a bunch of ads everywhere, but right in the bar you can't do anything. It doesn't offer anything." And I completely agree with this description. I've had the mod installed for a few weeks myself, and I've only actually used the function exactly twice. Once when I first installed it to see what it was about, and once to record the footage you're seeing in this video. But the thing is, just going about my gameplay knowing that Lizzie's bar is properly functional adds to the overall game world polish, if you get what I mean. Lizzie's Braindances requires Archive XL, Deceptious Quest Core, and Tweak XL. Okay, that's it for the world level mods that I have personally installed, but before we get to the player level ones, I have a few other recommendations that you can check out if you want to. We have Night City Interactions by Deceptious, which adds extra functionality to certain bars around Night City, allowing you to grab a drink and invite an NPC friend to have a drink with you and chat. This is not limited to your active romance interests, but to all of them, even if you haven't romanced them. Next, we have Gangs of Night City by Dedicated 24/7, and this one introduces a kind of gang roleplay faction system that actually allows you to join a gang. It also adds a whole bunch of unique gang spawns and random world events around Night City. Now, admittedly, it was a little buggy for me when I used it, but as a mod, it is an extremely interesting one nonetheless. And lastly, we have Cosmopolitan Night City by NTT and Nexus, and this mod brings added immersion by actually making certain groups of NPCs and even certain main NPCs speak to you in their respective native languages.
Goro, good to see you.
ああ、俺もだ、V。いくつかこちらで新たな情報をつかんだ。三郎様をパレードで弔いたいと提案したのは誰だと思う？手をかけた張本人さ。とんだ皮肉だな。
Yo, V, c'è questo cliente, Larry Fango. C'è che il suo socio Adam l'ha escluso da... Hanno un club di nome Empathy.
哎 V， 有个朋友找我，他想把打牌输掉的眼睛弄回来，假的是1眼。这钱应该很好赚，接吗？具体情况看附件。
Now, all of this is obviously customizable. You know, the mod's not going to force you to be spoken to in a certain language. You can choose which groups of NPCs speak their native language, which NPCs don't, which NPCs speak to you in English, etc. The base mod itself has V reply in English as normal or whatever your language of choice is. But there is a polyglot version that has V reply in whatever language they are spoken to in. Needless to say, you need to have the subtitles enabled to run this mod unless you speak all the languages yourself. The mod also comes with a Dogtown add-on for Dogtown interactions, and honestly, look, it isn't perfect. Okay, in all languages it isn't perfect. There might be a few instances where NPCs have to revert back to their English voice lines, or sometimes they just use wrong gender identifiers or wrong honorifics in certain languages. But overall, this mod is very interesting to experience. Cosmopolitan Night City has no additional requirements, but do note that it might conflict with other mods that alter messages or voice lines. Alright, moving on to player level mods, and first up we have Expert Mode 3 by Demos GSXR. And this is a simple, small mod with no requirements that replaces certain UI icons and markers in the game. And this includes stuff like loot markers, shard markers, ammo icons, and stuff like that. The goal is not to change or remove anything, but to minimize and shrink everything, right? To make them less intrusive. This helps with immersion, especially during combat when you're killing a bunch of stuff and loot's dropping and you're getting all the loot icons pop up on the screen. Expert Mode 3 comes with 3 different levels of minimization. The basic level just replaces the large icons with smaller ones and keeps the general behavior the same. Stoic makes it even more minimalistic by replacing loot rarity colors with just a universal "there is loot here" icon. And of course, Hardcore basically removes all markers. Okay, up next we have Immersive First Person by Bonaniki, and this is another simple mod that allows you to see more of yourself when you look down, much like you would be able to in real life. And no, I don't mean this in any sort of cheeky way. It literally increases the FOV when you tilt the camera down so that you can see more of your own body. Any cheekiness that results from this is entirely on you. It requires cyber engine tweaks to function. And then we have Immersive Timeskip by DJ Kovric, and this mod adds a bindable hotkey to activate a timeskip function that works exactly like the sleep function in the game, except that you can access it from anywhere and it actually visually shows you the passage of time as you are skipping it. It's a very neat and useful mod, and it requires input loader, Red4 extension, and RedScript to function. Okay, next we have No Walk Disable by SJBox, and this is an oldie but a goodie. Name kinda says it all. It stops the game from annoyingly toggling walk on and off automatically. No more randomly transitioning from walking to jogging. You can actually walk with a quest NPC without having to stop every 3 feet to wait for them because the game suddenly puts you from walking mode to jogging mode randomly. No Walk Disable requires RedScript to function, and it has not been updated for almost 2 years because it has never been broken by a patch. At least not to my knowledge. It still works today. Moving on, we have Better Sleeves by Marco4413, and this mod simply rolls V's sleeves down in scenes where V's arms are visible. Wow, that's like a tongue twister. Anyway, more accurately, what it does is it just stops the game from showing V's naked arms regardless of what you're wearing. If you're wearing a jacket, the jacket sleeves should show instead of your naked arms, and the mod just ensures that the jacket sleeves show. Better Sleeves requires Cyber Engine tweaks. And another small mod is MPH to KMH by Grabjazz, and the variant I have installed is the one with realistic values. No more cruising around a jam-packed night city at speeds that rival the top speed of a Bugatti Chiron, while visually looking like you're actually only going at 60. This mod scales the speed values to be much more realistic and in line with what the speed practically and visually looks like in the game. You can always use the normal in-game setting to toggle between Railworld units and Star Wars units, whatever reality you live in, and this mod requires RedScript to function. And last on the player level mods, we have the Passenger mod by Deceptious, and this mod makes Johnny spawn as a passenger in your car whenever you're driving around Night City. Cause you know, it's Johnny, and driving around Night City can get lonely sometimes. It requires Deceptious quest core to function, and upon installation, you just need to enter V's H10 apartment once, and then leave it in order to trigger the mod permanently. It also comes in 2 variants, one that spawns Johnny every ride and one that spawns him every 3 rides. Of course, Deceptious has made sure that this mod doesn't conflict with any of the quests or gigs that require a passenger in the car. If there's a passenger in the car, Johnny just won't spawn. Okay, on to the romance mods, and this section is gonna be largely dominated by mods from Deceptious. First up, we have the Romance Enhanced Mod Series, and this is a mod for every romance option, so download whichever one applies to you. This mod essentially gives each said NPC a daily routine and schedule at their respective places of residence. So rather than just standing around waiting for you to drop by, you'll now find them doing a variety of different things such as eating, sleeping, showering, and so on at various locations in the vicinity, depending on the time you drop by, of course. It also provides additional interaction options like hugging or kissing, so in a way it works just like the Hangouts feature introduced in Update 2.1, except that it involves you visiting them rather than them visiting you.
Hello there.
The Romance Enhanced mods do not have any requirements to function. And next we have Romance Hangouts Enhanced, and this is a quality of life plus kind of a bug fix mod for the Romance Hangout feature that was introduced in 2.1. It fixes various messaging and animation glitches and also patches it to work with non-base game relationships such as male V with Judy, male V with River, and such. It is a very new mod and will probably be receiving constant updates for a while until Deceptious has basically covered all the bugs in all locations and all scenarios. Okay, and then we have the various extra quest mods that involve your romantic partner, quests like Hot Fuzz, Encore, Californication. All of these add lore-friendly bonus quests beyond the stock quests in the game, and that's all I'll say about it to keep it spoiler-free. These extra quests require Archive XL, Deceptious Quest Core, and Red 4 extension. Okay, those are the romance mods I currently have installed, but here are a few other recommendations that you can check out if you want. We have mods that give various bonus romance options such as romancing Aurora, romancing Rita Wheeler, the Flaming Crotch Man. Yeah, and all of these bonus romance mods are by Deceptious, and these are kind of self-explanatory. They add various quests and requirements that end up unlocking relationships with the above characters. The mods are well put together and they add some interesting variety to the game, but they of course won't do anything major like affect the story or be included in the end credits or stuff like that. Now, like the extra quests, these mods all require Archive XL, Deceptious Quest Core, and Red 4 extension. And then there is Companions of Night City by Donk74. And this mod allows you to invite your romantic partner to join you as an actual companion in your escapades in Night City. Now, I'm talking the full shebang. They follow you around, ride in your car with you, they help you in combat, they talk with you, pass comments. It isn't just for show. And in combat, they actually deal damage and they can be downed, though if they get down, they revive automatically after a while. The mod currently works in 2.1, but has a couple of small functions broken, such as the ability to give commands to your companion during combat. Otherwise, the mod still functions properly as it should. I strongly encourage you to read the description carefully before using this mod, because there is a bunch of important stuff written there. I don't have it currently installed because it'll conflict with the Passenger mod, and I'm waiting for it to be updated as well. Companions of Night City requires Cyberscript Core and Cyberscript Core Animation Archive. Okay, and last on the list of recommended mods are the Romance Messages extended mods, of which one exists for Judy and the other exists for Panam. And somehow they are by different authors. Anyway, these mods provide a lore-friendly extension and replacement to message exchanges between V and either Judy or Panam, in a bid to keep the romance an ongoing thing rather than having contact somewhat cease after a certain point in vanilla. I've only ever used the Judy mod myself, and I can say that it definitely extends and adds depth to your interaction with Judy. I don't have it installed at the moment because the mod assumes V is female and the text messages reflect it as such. For those who've watched my previous videos, you would know that I almost always play male V. So even if I did edit the save to unlock Judy as a romance option, well, the whole female messages thing kind of does the opposite of immersion. So yeah, I don't have the mod installed at the moment, but the Judy mod at least, that requires Archive XL, Deceptious Quest Core, Red 4 extension, and Tweak XL. Alright, that's it for romance mods, and I'll just round things off with a couple of miscellaneous mods, starting with Cybercat's Save Editor. And this mod allows you to edit your save files for a variety of purposes, such as editing stats, editing your character level, unlocking gender lock romance options, or importing and exporting V's appearance presets, which basically defines how V will look in-game. So whether it is because you don't want to have to keep recreating the same V over and over again, or perhaps you want to download a V preset from Nexus Mod, yeah, so this is the save editor that will allow you to export or import those presets. Cybercat Save Editor has no requirements and is run as a separate program outside of the game. Installing it places the app inside your Cyberpunk folder, you launch it from there, point it to a save that you want to edit, do your thing, and overwrite the save. Just one quick note about the Save Editor. It currently has at least 3 known conflicts with other mods, and the 3 mods are Random Radio, Cyberarm Cycle, and Upgrade Weapons Unlocked. For those who watched my gameplay mod list, Upgrade Weapons Unlocked is one of the gameplay mods that I use. The workaround would be to temporarily deactivate the mod, launch the game, make a quick save, then edit that quick save, and reactivate the mod after that. You will not lose any upgrades you made to your weapons by doing this. Those upgrades are permanent. Alright, and last for this video would be the various car mods out there, and these car mods add entirely new vehicles to the game, ranging from lore-friendly ones to reskinning existing vehicles to adding various real-world cars. Now, some folks find this immersion breaking, some don't. I personally, I'm impartial, but I have all car mods currently disabled for my current playthrough. Honestly, there are a ton of car mods on Nexus, so I won't be talking about them individually. If you watch some of my previous videos, you probably would have seen some of the cars featured in those videos. I'll just put links in the description to all the ones that I've personally used and that I think are very well done. Okay folks, that officially rounds up part 3 of my mod list series. I'm sure there are plenty of great mods out there that I didn't cover in my videos, and definitely more interesting ones to come in the future. But for now, I hope this was interesting and I hope this was helpful. If you have any mods that you think I should try, drop a comment down below and I'll go check them out. Otherwise, that's it for now. Thumbs up if you liked it, crush that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys soon. Take care folks.